persist until the formation of the National Wrestling Alliance in 1948. The NWA as a central governing body, with its singular, undisputed world champion, would be absolute and undeniable. This control, combined with the expansion of the interstate highway system, and the inevitable popularity and availability of regional television, would usher in an era of wrestling that was defined by what would come to be known as the territory system. The territory system would dominate wrestling for nearly 4 decades, while the borders, authority, popularity, and obedience of individual NWA territories was in a near constant state of flux. To this day, the impact and influence of these territories is still felt. Each territory had its own signature promoter and star. While it is impossible to cram these characteristics into a static, concrete map, we are damn sure going to try anyway.
So open up your eyes, way before it gets too late. Now one man, there's no way you can. With the streetlights running, don't give a damn. A simple explanation that you'll never find. Sinners never sacrifice. We never leave love alone. Is hate really worth the price? Look at what we've done. Never cared for compromise. Always threatening someone's life, and it feels like the end of the world.
All right, welcome to This Week in Pro Wrestling with your favorite host, Mike Monty and Jimmy Farrow. What are we on, week?
I don't know. Don't even start. It's probably
I
like
like
20.
counting, dude.
Maybe it's like 20. Yeah, but we stopped counting like weeks back. We thought we were at like 16. Now we don't even know where we are. I would say maybe around 20. We should go back and
We gotta count it out.
Go look on the YouTube list and we'll see how many we have.
Absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely.
It's just like it's rocket science.
All right, so pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Big week this week.
Yes, sir. Very big.
Day
week.
1 results. Brock Lesnar shocks the world, wins the WWE Championship.
Do you think
Jimmy.
Roman had COVID for real, or are we being worked?
I think he had COVID.
That would take some balls, wouldn't it? If they were just like, well, just say you have COVID.
Well, that...
I can see it. Yeah, it's not out of the realm of
No,
possibility.
well, okay, so you hear the
It would be
rumors.
ballsy.
You don't know what the truth is. You hear the
Right.
rumors that Big E wasn't supposed to win the title, but since Roman got COVID, that's the way they decided to do it. But to me, it's too good of, like, we saw this coming. Like,
Right.
we thought he was going to win a championship. And
Sure.
I don't know if you go with a unification bout between the two, do you think?
I don't think there will be a unification bout because I don't think that. Well, I guess if somebody holds both belts, it's not like you're eliminating a title. But I've been reading that they're considering eliminating one of those 2 titles. I don't believe that.
Oh, you've been reading that?
Yeah, but I don't believe it.
You got to have a championship on one of your
each
shows.
show.
Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense. So I disregard that rumor as far as that goes. Tough to see. I mean, we're going to have to see what happens here. But no, I don't.
Is
I don't
it
think
etched
so.
in stone that Lesnar? Because now they're hot-shotting Bobby Lashley
Which I love.
at the Royal Rumble against
Yes.
Brock.
I hope that's not a quick one and done. I really hope not. I mean, and if it is a one and done, can we at least have what happened with Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar as far as Lashley's concerned? I mean, really make it a close match. You know, because people may forget this, but the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar match was amazing. And then afterwards, Brock did get the win, like he should.
Right.
But Joe was put over. He was put over during that match. And Joe said it the best on the following program when he was talking to Lesnar on a promo. You didn't, beat me. You escaped me.
Right.
And that's almost what I want to see since Lesnar is now a face, oddly enough, and Lashley, of course, is Lashley, the heel. I would like to see Lesnar, obviously, he should win the match. Let him barely get by.
Am I wrong?
And I don't think that takes anything away from
Am
Lesnar
I wrong
at
to
all.
say that I'm still holding on hope for The Rock against Reigns and that Lesnar, like part of me feels is that I want Lesnar when he meets in an hour from now, shows up at SmackDown with Paul Heyman, Reigns. I'm hoping it goes this way, which is probably just a dream, that they all three start laughing in the ring, and they're all part of the same stable.
What if I told you that I wouldn't be shocked if we did not get The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and instead we got The Rock versus Brock?
Nah.
And the reason
Why?
why,
No way,
I'll
no
tell
way,
you
no
why.
way.
There is actually a great storyline just sitting there, screaming, waiting for it. I was lucky enough to be at the greatest SummerSlam in the history of SummerSlams in 2002, when The Rock had signed his contract to go off to Hollywood. He was the WWF champion, WWE, whatever, and he faced a very young rookie, basically, Brock Lesnar, for the belt. And Brock beat him, and The Rock went off to Hollywood. They never had the rematch. This is so amazing as a natural fit as far as a script. They are both huge box office guaranteed draws, and they have history. If you put a face Rock with a heel somehow Brock, or vice versa, because The Rock can play either role, and we know it, it's going to work regardless. And it's etched in history.
If you're going to
as
get The
far as
Rock
the
for
storyline.
WrestleMania,
I know you want Roman Reigns versus The Rock, and I do too.
If you have The Rock, you're right. You have him for WrestleMania. It can't be Lesnar. It's got to be against Reigns. I mean, that's the premier.
In order to put
matchup.
Reigns more over.
Well, it's the whole storyline, man. This is the bloodline,
if they're
man.
wise, it would be The Rock versus Roman Reigns to continue furthering the legacy of Roman Reigns.
Oh, I think if Rock is good enough to come back,
You think The Rock's going to win this match?
I think
he
that
won't win
you
the match
have
if he fights
to,
Roman Reigns.
You have to.
Roman Reigns needs to win that match.
Does he really need to win?
Absolutely. If Roman Reigns, as dominant as he's been portrayed, and holding the belt, breaking Punk's, I know it was a different belt, but he held it longer than Punk did, one of the longest reigns in the last 30 years, and you're going to have him turn around and lose to a guy who's, how old is The Rock now? Let's be honest. Roman Reigns in his prime. He's going to turn around and get pinned by a guy who hasn't even been in the ring in how long?
You're missing the basics of pro wrestling.
The Rock needs to know what Hogan did for The Rock.
No, this has to be.
That's so logical.
Someone still has to. The good guy has to be in the end at the head of the table.
Triple H.
This is wrestling.
WrestleMania. Triple H walked out of there with the belt. He was a bad guy. It's happened plenty of times.
No, but not in the end. No, but not in the end of such a great storyline. This is a year storyline.
Well, there is no storyline yet with Roman and The Rock. It's going to be thrown together in 2 seconds.
No, Roman is the head of that family,
right?
And he's been teaching people lessons for years.
So The Rock's just walking in. I'm the head of the family.
I am the head of the family.
Okay, fine. That's great. I have no problem with that.
Of course, Roman could beat him later on.
But if you're dismissing the history and the storyline for the Rock-Brock thing and the sexiness in the box office, they're both going to be a winner.
I'm not saying that's a bad idea. It's not a bad idea, but if you're going to have The Rock, it's got to be Reigns. Look, think about it this way. Go back to Hogan coming in when Bret Hart lost to Yokozuna, right? And Hogan comes in and beats Yokozuna.
Because I love Hogan.
I loved it.
Yeah, because we love Hogan.
But what did they do? They just took it right back and gave the belt back to Yoko.
Yeah, Yoko.
So at WrestleMania, you always got to give the here's AEW, right? We're gonna get into AEW, folks, in a minute, but this is what differentiates the WWE from AEW.
Okay.
There is a story being told in most of the WWE. They've done a worse job in recent years, but
sure.
Back in the day, no matter where you were on a card, you always had a storyline. It was a nice little storyline. You could be the opening match, and you had something going on.
And as we've discussed over the past week, it was week by week.
Yes.
Which are considered, to me, chapters of a book. AEW tends to be like they'll have a great match between two guys, and then they don't even touch each other or look at each other for like a month.
Well, let's go into what happened Wednesday night.
That's not a storyline. That's just awesome wrestlers having awesome matches.
Hangman Adam Page defeats Bryan Danielson, right?
Yeah.
With the three judges, Paul White, Mark Henry, Jerry Lynn. So they had that little bait and switch there because you thought it was going to go to time limit draw.
Right, because of the 60-minute previous, right?
So let's not forget Danielson did his little Jerry Lynn finishing maneuver on Hangman Page. So you thought, oh, my God, Jerry Lynn was going to, but
Jerry Lynn.
So
great wrestler.
Give me your thoughts on the match first, and then let's discuss.
I loved the match. You know, all WWE loyalties aside, you know, irrelevant when I'm watching a great pro wrestling match. I could care less who the company is. That was a great match. I enjoyed it very much. I have massive respect for both those guys as professional wrestlers. Daniel Bryan's incredibly entertaining. We know that much.
Sure.
Adam Page is very, very like neutral to me, but cool for some reason. It's hard to explain. Is he like deeply engaging as his personality? No, not really. But there's a certain southern cool about him, and it's fine with me. You know, incredible match. They beat the tar out of each other, but I think I said this to you earlier today before we got on the air. Now, I never ever want to hear Daniel Bryan complain about a headache or a pain, or say that Vince is behind his head traumas. Get out of here. You left Vince because you love doing what you do. You wanted to compete at this kind of physical level. I just watched you and Adam Page destroy each other with headbutts and everything else. You killed each other. The headaches are now on you, my friend. You know, but that's you wanted it, you got it, and you're killing yourself now. I wonder how your head's going to feel 10, 15. Even JR said something.
But here it is. You're in a 1 hour draw.
Yeah.
Couple of weeks go by.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of stupid shots. Really no storyline behind it. Then you have this good match. You call it great. I call it good.
I thought it was fantastic.
Okay. You have this really good match. And guess what? Nothing. It's over.
Right.
It's over.
Right. It's over. I don't know where they're going to go with Bryan Danielson now.
There's no hatred, hatred. It's just like the storylines are so lacking.
In that particular case, it wasn't much of. Yeah, I agree. It wasn't like Snooker and Roddy.
I honestly don't see any. I don't see any. Like, there's no build up for
wasn't
anything.
The Tribal Chiefs family and everything like that. The way we've been watching this storyline over the last year with him and Heyman. No. I understand.
Jade Cargill beats Ruby Soho.
Not much of a thought on that. I was reading, I don't know what to take from it, but I was reading that a lot of people are saying that Ruby Soho is a real wuss.
Why?
Like in real, she's a real pussy. I was like, wow, I was shocked at that. I was like, really? Get out of here, I mean, there's just some people in the locker room like, she's not all that. Or somebody, I might have been Jade Cargill, come to think of it. She was like, you're not even tough, lady. She was kind of like saying about Ruby Soho. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
But here's where I think the mistake.
She's got to be tough somewhat.
I think they had to give Jade the belt because they've been building her up so long.
Yeah, sure.
But she can't really wrestle. And now you got a champion who can't wrestle.
Oops.
Britt Baker.
You know who should go there? Your favorite.
Who's that?
Doudrop.
Doudrop is a good
will
wrestler.
go over there. The two of them can't wrestle.
Doudrop is a good wrestler. You are out of line.
Doudrop is about to get fired soon. So when she does, we'll talk about it.
She's not going to get
She's
fired.
getting released.
They just trademarked
it. They trademarked it. To do what? Sell flattened pancakes? I mean, what did they trademark? What?
But go back to your AEW.
Doudrop is terrible. It's a terrible
Your
name.
AEW Women's Champion is okay at best.
Right.
Wrestler.
Right.
She's gorgeous, good on the mic. She's got everything else. That's why she's. Let's not get that out of control.
Is she 90 pounds?
People
like
at
Rio?
home. Well, I'm okay with Britt Baker.
Oh, Britt Baker's great.
But what I'm trying to say to you is, all the fans, let's not get crazy and say that she's a good wrestler, because she's not. Oh, well, don't forget that match she had with,
she's not,
Thunder Rosa.
She
spilled some fake blood, and, but she's good.
She's
good.
I think she's good.
Jade Cargill is not a good wrestler. She's got the look, got no mic skills.
Oops.
Can't wrestle.
Whoopsie whoops.
Yeah, it's...
Whatever.
Again.
Yawn.
Now, what's up with Ruby Soho?
I don't know.
It's like, congratulations, back to oblivion.
Yeah, aren't you glad you went to AEW? You could have been making twice as much to lose to Charlotte again.
I want to ask you about that. If you love wrestling so much, you're a wrestler, right?
I am.
You're Adam. Let's call yourself Adam Cole.
I got cauliflower. You're okay.
All right, so
go on.
You want to make right, because you just mentioned Danielson. He left the WWE because it was just time, and he wanted to do what he loves, and he loves to wrestle.
He asked for it.
Here's the problem, guys, in my opinion. I want you to weigh in on this. At some point, no matter what you do in a career, whether you're a plumber, a banker, a politician, an actor, a pro wrestler, you want to leave your mark on the world, and people say, hey, this guy was one of the best. This lady was one of the best. When
a plumber wants to do that?
Sure.
Nobody plunged like me. I remember that time I worked all day in Jackson Heights, 45 toilet bowls. What are you talking about?
Because people want to be the best they want to be.
Of course people do. I get it.
So when you leave the WWE, like Adam Cole did,
right?
no matter how well you do in AEW,
Yeah.
will you ever be recognized as one of the all-time greats?
That's an interesting question.
That's what I'm going to ask
That's
you.
a very,
I want you to answer that question.
That's a very, very interesting question.
So you get to do what you love. You get to do one thing a week and make some good money.
And here's the answer to the regular wrestling fan who got drawn in during the Hogan era or the Attitude era. No, they won't pay any attention to some of these guys who made their mark in their career in other places outside of the WWE. They won't know. The mark, which I don't think I'm a mark in some terms, but I do think I am definitely a lover of the purest part of the sport.
Okay.
I believe that guys like Okada, guys like Nakamura, even before he got here, are some of the all-time greats, but it depends on the list. You know, I wouldn't put them in the top 10. I don't think I would put Okada in the top 20, but I do think that they did have amazing careers outside of the WWE.
So when you look back at your past and you think about Greg
Giant Baba, for example, we know that man's a legend.
But
he only came here for like now and then.
What makes legends is this.
Yeah.
And that's why people love the parent show of This Week in Wrestling, Monty DeFaro, because a lot of old school fans, we reminisce on a lot of these things. So when you think about Valentine beating Backlund for the title and that whole switcheroo. And again, don't worry, folks. We know we didn't beat him for the title, but there was a time where they held up that he did not.
Yes, he did.
He was not recognized
He was champion,
as a champion
for a week in my mind. I don't give a damn.
Mind.
I don't care. I saw him leave Madison Square Garden and announced as the champion with the belt over his shoulder.
Or when Snuka climbed the cage.
That was amazing.
Or when Mick Foley gets thrown off the cage. Whatever.
Right.
The chills and the remembering of what happened.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that working. Like, people are not going to remember. Do you remember the day when Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson had that bloody match?
Understood.
It's good for the moment.
Right. There's nothing bigger than Andre Hogan, WrestleMania 3, things like that. Warrior Hogan, Austin Rock, 1, 2, and 3. TLC match, the first one, the first two. With the Dudleys and the Hardys and Edge and Christian. There are certain
I'm going to ask you a question, though.
That will just,
I'm going to ask you a question.
Because it's WrestleMania. Because the WWE is
if
the
top
Rock
company wrestles Roman Reigns,
yeah,
that's a must-see.
The Rock
and you're going to remember it forever.
And The Rock must put Roman over. Absolutely. Oh, God. If I was in the back during that booking and the winner is anybody other than Roman, I'd lose my mind.
I'd actually argue with you on that one.
I'm sure you would, but it would be the wrong thing to do.
Going over AEW, the ratings in the last 5 weeks, December 29th, 975,000.
Okay.
On the 22nd, they broke 1 million.
Nice. Very nice.
The 15th of December, 948.
All right.
The 8th, 872.
Ooh, it's going down.
The 1st, 861. And here's the thing where people are talking about ticket sales. Oh, AEW's outdrawing the WWE.
Right.
For the Prudential Center in Newark,
where the Devils
7,646 sold.
Right.
Distributed.
Right.
Leaving 1,777 available.
Listen, there's nothing to brag about with these numbers. These are nothing. It's nothing.
There's nothing to brag.
It's nice that they got 1 million that 1 week. In general, they're hanging in. They're doing okay, considering all things. They get half of what Vince gets, and they bark 10 times as loud. And that's that.
On the other hand, the people are all angry that Brock, the few people that are angry that Brock Lesnar defeated Big E.
Oh, stop!
Here's really simple, guys.
What?
They drew 1.8 million for Raw.
Right.
That's 300,000 more just because Brock Lesnar was going to be on the show.
That's right. You're talking over 250,000 more people. You know how much money that translates to? Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. And don't be surprised if it goes up even higher.
Of course. SmackDown's going to be off the hook Friday.
It is an amazing thing to now know, and I am very, very, very thrilled with what the WWE has done in the last week. You're talking about on Friday nights, you can tune in and see Roman Reigns as the champion. That is a champion. Okay?
True.
Then you can tune in on Mondays and see Brock Lesnar as the champion. That is a champion. And then, if you feel like getting your kicks in, you can tune in on Tuesday nights and see a Steiner. Braun freaking Breaker. Sorry, Seth Rollins, sorry. Braun Breaker. NXT champion. That is a wrestler. That is a champion. So for all the bitching going on and all the mudslinging at the evil Vince McMahon, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and in NXT now, a Steiner, Braun Breaker. What the hell is wrong with you if you have a problem with that? What the hell are you looking for? And if you tell me Big E, doesn't matter how big, and I always told you this, doesn't matter how big E is, he's huge. I could buy into his physique, of course.
You called it.
Okay?
You called it.
Big E is a comedian. I can't.
He's a New Day.
He's a New Day. I can't.
And by the way,
take
New
him
Day has. Listen,
seriously.
New Day is a money maker.
Together, they are gold.
Listen, it goes down.
Apart, to me, I'm sorry, Kofi didn't sustain either with all the bitching, make Kofi champion, make Kofi. He didn't sustain, and he didn't bring ratings, and he didn't bring more people.
Well, you gotta
Okay?
remember.
That's
guys,
all there is to it.
Guys would
And Brock Lesnar destroyed
Guys
him.
are in certain roles.
He should.
Guys are in certain roles. They give them opportunities. New Day
Right.
makes them a lot of money.
They're great.
But look, I've even said that about The Miz.
Right.
The Miz you can't take very seriously, okay?
No.
And you know what? To be fair to the old school fans,
Right.
Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant
Right.
never could take
You can't
him
put the
seriously.
world heavyweight title on him.
Just never took him serious. He was
Right.
a clown.
Right.
He was a nobody.
Right.
Pistol Pez Watley. Same thing.
Rock
This
and
guy-
roll Buck Zumhoff.
There you
Boy,
go.
did he turn out to be a
But-
fuck
well,
up.
but you
That's a
you
whole
know,
other
but the
story.
point of the matter
Yeah,
is certain
stop.
people or certain wrestlers were put into that
Right.
clown-ish
Right.
position.
Right.
So when people tell me how great Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant was,
Right.
stop it.
Right.
He was a clown.
That's
Legitimately, like
right.
the
Someone's
people that liked him
someone's
were-
jumping out of a window in Queens right now. Can you hear him?
well, that's not the reason I'm saying it. The reason I'm
Poof.
saying is let's
rough.
get serious. The
Rough.
guy was, he was good as the Valiant Brothers, but
Look,
once he
I
went
thought-
on his own,
I thought he was over, and I thought he was entertaining, and I saw him as a lighter version of Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That's how I saw him.
thank you.
That's
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, you couldn't
I
take
love
serious
Hacksaw
either.
Jim Duggan. Right, I couldn't take him as world champion.
No
Like that. I
way.
mean, it doesn't mean
No
that he
way.
could. He wasn't main event
Coco
type.
Beware.
He was. Right.
You could-
Don't
he's-
jump. I don't want to say anything bad. Last time we were in here, you revealed to him that I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, and he bounced my head off
Wait,
the table.
you can be a Hall of Famer, great wrestler
Right.
in that role. I didn't
course.
say that.
No.
But when you said these are champions, the
Right.
three guys you named,
Yeah.
those are wrestling champions.
Right. Lesnar, Reigns, and the Steiner.
All right.
My
Well,
God.
with that, this has been This Week in Wrestling. This is Mike Monty.
This is the Pharaoh.
Enjoy SmackDown and then a little Rampage, right?
Yeah, Rampage. I think
Rampage.
that's what Conan calls it. Yo, Rampage.
Oh, by the way, real quick before we cut out, what did you think of that women's tag team match that everybody was goo-gooing gaga-ing over?
I don't think anything
last
of
week
it because I think I wound up on the can reading a newspaper.
So you didn't watch it?
No, it was Gugu and Gaga.
It was like a
is that who
the crazy
Gugu verse
bloody match.
Gaga?
It was like an ECW women's match.
ECW
Oh,
women's.
so you didn't
match.
watch it. So give
No, I
it a
didn't see
take
that.
look
I
and fill me next week what you think.
Oh, yeah, all right. It's a classic, huh? Another classic.
Another classic.
We got another classic.
Another
That's
classic.
great on a channel that is not exactly Fox. Gotcha.
There you go.
Okay, very well.
With that, have a good week and enjoy your weekend, folks.
Yeah, this has been the Pharaoh, by the way, with Mr. Monty. And until next week, when we still don't know what episode number this is, later.